who has with Zoom is man, the button clicking in Zoom is just horrible. Like I click on any setting and it's like a good solid like 5-10 seconds before the setting takes effect. And Zoom is the only application this happens in. Everything else is fine. It's just Zoom has this weird delay. Like I've counted to 30 one time when trying to get somebody to join a meeting. So if anybody has any tips, right now I'm down the hardware acceleration rabbit hole.
I think Zoom could be entering the Netscape phase.
Remember when Netscape was it in 6 came out?
I remember what it was. It was great until it wasn't great.
It was release where you all of a sudden you're like, I mean, the word bloat, I think, was invented. We're like Netscape Navigator 6.
Yep.
They tried too hard and they released this thing. And if anybody on this call knows what we're talking about, like
You're old. Sorry.
The farther in my career I get, the funnier it gets because like, you had that first moment you realize that one of your texts does not know a reference you just made. Yeah. Oh, it's kind of like Service Pack 6. You know how you had to install that to get USB working? Well, and they're like, what do you mean Service Pack? For what? Like
yeah. What's a Service Pack?
And they're like completely lost is what you're saying. And you're like, oh my gosh, no. And then it just gets worse as it goes along. And so everybody has these demarc moments where they realize that the younger crowd does not understand the reference you just made. And I imagine for Skip, it's, when we started talking about not using punch cards anymore for code.
That was my dad.
So anyways, this segues really well into our topic for today, which is one of Skip's favorite topics, mine too, because it was where I started getting my aha moments in IT, where I realized that there is more to being an engineer than just solving problems that I see in computers. And I don't know, it's probably around 2007 or so when I started doing these things, but they're called key stakeholder interviews. So back then I didn't call them that. I called it, water cooler talk or getting my cup of coffee in the morning. I would walk what I called the gauntlet, coffee, and I would chat with people. And, a few of my fellow managers thought that was kind of a waste of time. But for me, like I kept coming up with solutions and to problems. And I started winning over like entire departments. And then it evolved into this idea that I would bring donuts to departments. I had this little checklist, by the time I became like an upper manager, like I went to a department and I would bring them a box of donuts and I would sit by the box of donuts and just chat with whoever came get a donut. And everybody's always so grateful. But in the meantime, they're like, hey, by the way, what's the deal with, and they would start asking me questions. Or I'd ask them how their day was going or what projects they were working on. And over time, I started getting invited into their meetings to comment and help them, solve issues. And, 10 years goes by me doing this with different departments, with different companies and different businesses. And I realized that consistently talking to the end users and these certain people that kind of know the whole business, always resulted in projects. Always. And I brought that with me into my consulting agency when I found it in 2017. And Skip had the same concept. It's just like,
oh yeah, absolutely.
Talking to people and doing projects that they care about rather than projects that we care about.
So as MSPs, there are instances where we get the opportunity to work with a bigger company or a company that's downsized or anyway, there's a variety of, little niches there or, instances that we fall into. And the history there was they used to have an internal team. They used to have an internal guy or a group of people, whatever. And if you'll think back to when you've had those engagements and you're supporting that customer, there's probably been a point in the conversation with that customer where they go, who knows how it gets to this point, but the result, kind of the meat, if you heard it, all right, might not have been really clearly stated, but if you heard it, the meat of the conversation was probably something around, hey, you guys are doing great stuff, but it just feels different. We're kind of disconnected now versus when we had someone internally. And the reason that they feel that disconnect, and they don't really know what it is. I mean, they might love your staff. They might really like the cost savings that you're providing or the superior support that you're able to deliver, but there's a disconnect and they can't quite put their finger on it. And it's what Adam was just talking about. It's that personal connection, that personal relationship. Now, a lot of IT guys don't go Adam's route. All right. We are much more introverted than that. We love to just, hide in the back. But just being there, being present. I think we have a podcast on being present out there. So that is a real, I think, definable, if a bit intangible, but it is a very real value that you need to bring to your client relationships.
Yeah. And a lot of times you need an excuse. So like if you don't have a good, deep conversation with somebody in your personal life, do something together, like you go fishing or go on a drive, it's that old passion thing. It works. So with key stakeholder interviews, getting conversations, the best way to do it is like bring them donuts. Say, I'm going to make sure that as part of my playbook every year, I bring donuts to an office at least once. Start little. A box of donuts here in Nebraska costs like $22, I think. And that's for a good box of donuts to bring in for your client. So if you figure out how many clients you have, is it worth $22 to potentially generate 40 grand in projects?
Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely.
You may be an introvert or you may be socially awkward. You may not have the confidence just to set up a meeting, go and just like, hey, I want to bring donuts to my clients because I know everybody loves donuts. Walk in, set down the box of donuts, and, while you're there, have a donut and let people come like, oh, hey, donuts. Who brought these? Oh, I did. I just wanted to, say thank you.
Oh, did we lose your audio, Adam? Or is it just me? All right. So yeah, you cut out mid-sentence. So we can either blame Zoom or one of your, okay. No, there we go.
It's hold on.
It's slowly but surely.
Oh, there we go. Roadcaster rebooted.
I had to reboot Roadcaster.
All right.
Second I've had to do that today. Buzzing noise. I'm telling you, maybe the Roadcaster is failing. I tried your trick with the plug. I've tried putting the iron ferrite things on the cables. I've tried everything. The buzzing's still there. So I'm kind of wondering if my Roadcaster is not giving out. I've had it for several years now, and I spilled coffee on it once.
There you go. That's it.
Anyways, to go back to, it's like you get an excuse to come in and talk to your clients. And when you do that, it increases revenue generation and makes them happier with you, which increases your profits because you'll be doing more service. Yes, this is a free thing you're doing. It's costing you $22. But how much do you spend on Google ads just hoping that somebody will click on you? How much do you spend on your site? And say you have 50 clients times $20. Is that worth the cash for you?
Yep.
So let's try going on site and ask questions. You don't even have to be structured. You don't have to follow some fancy sales process. You don't have to go to a class and learn how to do this. As Skip is fond of saying, get your Big Chief notebook and your pen, walk in there with a box of donuts and see what happens.
Yep.
Like you don't have to come in there. If you walked in there just yourself with your nice t-shirt on with your MSP's logo and said, I'm here, people ask me questions, no one's going to come up to you. Maybe that needy person, the squeaky wheel, will come up and talk to you. But you bring in a box of donuts and a carafe of coffee, and you're going to have a line of people just kind of milling around.
Yes. Well, see, that all sounds really easy for Adam. All right. But part of me, so obviously different personality types, and, I'm the rare one, but just the whole waiting, the awkwardness of it. I don't know. I would love to have a process that I can follow, a safety net. All right. And so in my early VCIO engagements, I mapped that out. We would start with a customer, and we would get the VCIO package added to their support agreement. And I would sit down with someone, a strategic person. This is typically the CEO level, at least a senior executive in the organization. We're mapping out what we're going to do. And I would give them an email template. All right. I would send it to them. I said, here's just a suggestion. You can do whatever you want with it. And that email template said something to the effect of, hey, we've hired a VCIO firm to help us out, to do a few things. I forget what. I had some nice little wording in there. And I would like, and so the CEO, it comes from them. They say, I would like for you to meet with Skip Ziegler. All right. And they would send that out I was asking for 3 key stakeholder interviews. And I liked that process because it was more specific. All right. I didn't have to be so adaptable or whatever. And I think, so Adam and I are talking about 2 different things here. I think they're both at the extreme, but anything between these 2 points, I think works. And so the CEO would send out this email. It was great. I would always follow up with those people. All right. And the real traction that I got there was, hey, your boss says we need to talk. All right. So, if I just hit them up out of the blue, they're like, yeah, I don't have time for that. But if I threw your boss says we have to do this sort of thing, then I could get a meeting with those people. And from there, again, you can follow Adam's route and just listen and chat. And most likely you're going to get some valuable data out of that. If you need a more structured deal, I've got a key stakeholder interview widget in the strategy report. And so you can map it out, just step by step. But I want to set the expectation that there's a whole range of ways to do this. The most important thing is that you do it.
Yeah. And I have talked to a number of MSP leaders, like from podcast leaders to just big names in the industry. And every one of them kind of has the same advice. The problem with MSPs is they're not walking on site. They're not talking to their customer. And so people spend tens of thousands of dollars going through these really expensive sales, how to be a better salesperson, how to sell your MSP better, how to market your MSP better, and then you're paying these ungodly amounts of money to fix a problem that is fixed simply by you walking in the door. That's it. For $20 a box of donuts, you can get more than you would out of a sales training process from the gurus. They want you to go to the sales meeting. They want you to spend tens of thousands of dollars learning the magic sauce to how to have a better sales conversation. I'm here telling you that you don't need to spend $10,000. I mean, unless you've got some major psyche problem, like talking to people that you need to overcome, go see a therapist. Highly recommend. But all you need to do is be a person. If you went out and somebody invited you out for beer, would you say, oh crap, I need to study for that conversation? No. You grab a pint, you go to the bar, you sit down, and you have a conversation with the person. Wherever the conversation goes, what are you going to talk about that night? Some of you are a little bit more introverted. You're more, maybe you're on spectrum. Maybe you're there, and you need to go to a trivia night to have an excuse. That's donuts.
Yeah.
That's the crutch. And then some of you need to have it spelled out. Okay, fine.
We lost you again, Adam. Okay. So the beauty of this one is by giving your staff the freedom to do it the way that's most comfortable for them, you can still have a defined activity in your client playbook that says, hey, we're going to do a key stakeholder interview, and give your team the flexibility to figure that out and do that however works best with them. And some of them may do it a variety of ways. For some companies, that donut option may work great, but and they're totally comfortable with it, but they've got another customer that they're taking care of, and maybe it's the law firm or whatever, and everyone there is just so stiff and rigid and into a calendar appointment. And they're like, if I brought donuts, I would leave with donuts. Just find something that's adaptable for your team. But the most important thing about that is it's going to be business focused. So Adam, just before he cut out, was keen on that. You don't need to study. You don't need prep work for this. You need to go and be ready to listen, because your clients, the key stakeholders there, they have all of the really important information. They know what's important, not you. So don't try to show up with the answers. It's all about what they have. And so you're really just in listening mode. It's an easy one to do.
Yeah, that's why your Big Chief notebook. You're not there to tell them what to do. You're there to listen and take notes. And if you don't get anything out of the conversation, cool. You're going to walk away with a blank notebook, but guess what? You just increased your presence.
Yes, absolutely.
And it was great. So let's see how long my microphone lasts this time. I tried switching channels, but that didn't work either. What we want to do is we want to make sure that we're connecting in a very human way. And so that is what this week is about. These key stakeholder interviews we're going to use later to empower your strategic sessions. So these notes you take in these key stakeholder interviews are going to add context to your recommendations tomorrow. So that when you walk in the door, you're not just selling a firewall, you're selling a new utility that's going to solve Sally's problems. And that's the important part. And so you can go to like $10,000 sales organization, have them tell you this, or you can just treat your clients like human beings and try to connect with them like you would anybody else. And so this will help you with revenue generation. It's like Mike's on this call. He was making fun of me. Mike will back that up.
Yep.
Yeah. Go back to, there's these podcasts with Sean Marr the last fall. Go listen to this. It's a 2-part Stop Wasting Words podcast. It's worth more than any workshop you'll go to on how to talk to people. And he is just solid. He's got a book he's written. He goes around and coaches companies all over the world, and it's a 2-part podcast episode that will help you and your teams relate and figure out what you're doing wrong in these conversations. But it really is this easy. This is the secret sauce. You know what successful people are doing? They're talking to their clients.
Yep. That's it.
And that's what we want to do with stakeholder interviews. We call them key stakeholder interviews because we need to give it a name. Because people are like, what am I doing wrong? Like, well, when's the last time you talked to your client? Like, I don't know what to talk to them about. Like, just go in and talk to them. Like, casual conversation. In a corporate IT setting, I walk the gauntlet. If you walk the gauntlet, you're coming back with 6 tickets. So we call it the gauntlet because you're going to get hit left and right by people.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's where the coffee pot, the watering hole, whatever it is, that's where a lot of IT people get that relational, like what's going on with the company. You don't have that as an MSP. You have to actually put effort into finding the watering holes. And when you do that, you generate revenue. In the corporate world, I just generated projects and I aligned my projects for budget requests. You're going to go through and you're going to get projects that mean something to your clients. So when you walk to the table, ta-da, all of a sudden you are speaking their language or solving their problems. And all that happened was you got them donuts. This key stakeholder interview. You could sit down and say, hey, I want to have a meeting with your top 3 contributors in your company. Who are the 3 people in your company that know what's going on? Like they've been with you since the beginning.
Yep.
Sit down and have a meeting with them and just let them talk. This will increase retention, generation, and profitability all at the same time. I guarantee you it will, because we've seen it over and over again. We have hundreds of MSPs who work with us. This is how it works. Oh, Skip's posting I think the links to the podcast episodes. Check those out. This is the secret sauce. If you want to, I'm happy if you want to write me a $10,000 check. I will sit with you for 3 hours and train you on how to do this. If you really need to spend the money, I'm here for you. But in the meantime, listen to the podcast and then go talk with your clients. That's it. That's key stakeholder interviews. And we talk about these several times throughout the year. And so we'll come back to this. We will bring this up on how to do a better QBR, because this is the core of what we're trying to get you to do. It's not a QBR. It's not an SBR. It's just simply you're sitting with your client and aligning with them.
Yeah. So so many of the things that we're going to talk about as the year goes on are all centered around the client's business goals. And again, you guys are not the expert in your client's business. They are. So it's your chance to listen to the expert. All right. Put it in technical terms. All right. So, many years doing the Cisco stuff, Cisco certifications, worked with a lot of guys chasing that CCIE route. If you're the newbie, right, and you're trying to get what Cisco broke down the CCNA even into 2 little small parts, right? So you've got that, that basic entry-level certification, and you go and you sit with a CCIE. Are you going to be telling them all of the things that, should be happening with routing and switching? Or you're going to shut up and you're going to listen to the CCIE tell you? All right. That's the exact same situation with you and your clients. So you listen to them, they're going to give you the great information you need. And then we're going to use that throughout the year. This is going to empower a lot of what you're looking to do, and how it's a lot of things that's going to really make you successful as this year goes on. But to get this, you need to have a conversation. The great news is, I want to reinforce this, is it's super easy. It doesn't take much time. There's virtually zero prep for this. Okay. The hardest part is getting the meeting scheduled. If you're doing one of those things,
right, donuts to get.
Yeah. Or if you're, we're all on, New Year's diets and all, and yeah, standing next to a box of donuts and not eating the donuts, that might be really hard. I'll give you that one. That might be the hard part about it. Other than that, this is super easy.
Yeah. This is the easiest thing you can do to market your company, to farm clients, and to align and increase that revenue. I promise you, hand in the air, this is the best way to align with client. This is how you get a client to go from a break fix shop to managed services. This is how you get a managed services client to go from entry level support at, like silver membership or whatever you have, up to platinum. This is how you get there. You can't sell them on operations. You have to sell them on relationships. And that's what I'm going to leave you guys with. And that's what the
I like that
for you. Talk to your clients so that they enjoy being with you, and so that you can add context to your projects, and you will generate more revenue, and you will retain clients, because now you're a friend. You're part of their family. They will never get rid of you.
Yep. That's it.
Thank you, everyone. I can't remember what next week is. Check the event calendar. You'll see what's coming up. And we're almost done with January here. So we're moving right through the year. It moves fast, people. I warn about this every year. It moves fast.
Yep.
Get on top of these things. Schedule out interviews. Schedule out meetings with your clients. Bring them donuts and succeed. Thank you.
See ya.